Welcome to Learning Dorico. I'm composer and music educator Dr. Scott Watson. In this video, we'll be typesetting some chamber music, a quartet of instruments and piano. What's significant about this small score, at least in this series, is this is the first score that uses transposing instruments. If you haven't watched my video on transposition and transposing instruments, you really should, just for some general background. In a nutshell, transposing instruments are instruments whose sound is actually different than what the notes look like on the page. Concert pitch instruments, on the other hand, look and sound the same. So for instance, the piano in this score is a concert pitch instrument. The notes look exactly as they sound, whereas the E-flat alto saxophone actually sounds a major sixth lower. What's great is that Dorico makes transposition easy. You'll notice that the piano part is based on an SATB, or soprano, alto, tenor, bass format. In other words, the soprano and the alto are the upper two voices in the piano's right hand, and the tenor and the bass are the two lower voices in the piano's left hand. We'll be assigning the soprano to the oboe, the alto to the clarinet. Now that's a transposing instrument. The tenor to the E-flat alto saxophone, another transposing instrument. And the bass will be given to the cello. What's great is that we can play all four of those instrument parts in concert pitch, then click a switch, and Dorico does the work of putting them in their correct transposition so that they appear as the instruments need to see them in order to play them. All right, let's get started. We've launched Dorico. We're ready to start. Let's do Command N to get a single player, and we'll start with that oboe, woodwind and oboe, and add. I'm going to resize my window. Okay, next I'm going to use the icon in the lower left to add more single players. The next is our B-flat clarinet. So scroll down to clarinet, make sure it's B-flat you're choosing, add that. After that, we want an alto sax. Click that icon one more time, woodwinds and alto saxophone, add that. Next is the cello. That's a string instrument. And we'll have to use violoncello, the formal name for that instrument. There it is. And lastly, the piano. And of course, that's under keyboards and piano, and add. Dorico put the instruments in orchestral score order. We want to actually put the quartet all together, so I'm going to move up the cello to just under the alto saxophone. Also, I'd like the bracket to include all four instruments in our quartet. Let's go to engrave mode for that. Could do Command 3 as well. And let's delete this bracket. Delete. And now I'm going to Command click these four staves. Another thing I could have done is click, hold, and just drag. So in one way or the other, select those four and then add this type of bracket down here. Great. Let's go back to setup mode, Command 1. I'd like to edit the staff names a little bit. Let's start with that clarinet in B-flat. I'd rather it say B-flat clarinet, just simpler, more direct. That's actually something we do in layout options, Shift Command L, and it has to do with the order under staves and systems and pitch and transposition, the order of that instrument pitch. So instead of clarinet in B flat at the end, let's put the B flat at the start. And you'll see what I mean here. Go back, and now it says B flat clarinet. I also would like to change the alto saxophone name. So that's something where I'm going to actually edit the name. Click on this triangle in the card, the player card, and then click these three dots, edit names. Let's just have it say alto sax, so I'm going to delete that, alto sax. Let's just have it say SX period for the abbreviation, which will occur in subsequent systems. So that's good, all right. And violoncello, that's a little bit too complicated for me. I'm just a basic guy. So let's go with just cello. So we're going to change the name cello for the first system, and then subsequent systems, VC is fine. That's a standard or a convention. Okay. All right, everything else looks great. I'm going to save this, and let's call it For the Beauty, and my initials SW. Put this out on the desktop. All right, let's go ahead and do the project info, Command I. So let me type For the Beauty of the Earth in all caps. And subtitle, Composer, Music, Conrad Coker. Arranger, yours truly. I'm going to put a copyright notice. Option G gets us the copyright sign. And I do need a flow title so that on the second page at the top, we actually see For the Beauty of the Earth. Notice this is not in all caps. I did that intentionally so you can see the difference. All right, let's apply that. and close. All right, but we don't want the flow title to appear here. Let's go into layout options, Shift Command L, and then under page setup, flows, let's say never show the flow heading there on the first page. Also, bar numbers, I'd like them to be below the system rather than above the system, and apply that and close. Let's go to engrave mode, Command 3. Let me close this panel. Zoom out a little bit. I'd like to put the text frame over here for the arranger. Let's get the frame tool, and I'd actually like to move this up a little bit. And then we're going to draw the text frame for the arranger right below that. We've done this in prior projects. Double click in here and copy, Command C, double click in here and paste, and let's apply composer formatting so it looks similar. But we don't want the composer there, we want the arranger. So we're going to change this token, that's what that coding is called, token, to arranger. All right, and now it's going to say arrange Scott Watson. I also want to move this up a little bit too. But I do want to have a subtitle. Let me drag each of these text frames down a little bit to make room for the subtitle. Also, I don't need it to come over this far. So I'm going to change the width of these two fields, these text frames. Okay, over here is the text frame for the lyricist, and we don't have a lyricist. So if I select that, I can delete it. So select it. Make sure you select only that, nothing else, and delete it. You know, if you would have selected this, the music frame for this first page here, and delete that, then you don't have any place for your music. So make sure you don't do that. Just delete the lyrics frame. Let's also move this text frame up a little bit to make room for the subtitle. And now we're going to draw in a text field for the subtitle. I'm going to put that right here. And I'm going to option up, nudge that a little bit higher. And let's go ahead and copy the token, composer token in here, double click and paste. Let's format this to be in the center. And let's make this say subtitle instead of composer. So now we're making it the token for the subtitle. I'd also like to have this be in italics and a smaller font size, 10. Yeah, use the tilde key. That's looking pretty good. Finally, this music frame, I'm going to lower that margin a little bit just to get the music out of the way of the composer and arranger. Now let's go to write mode, Command 2. Select here, and in write mode, I'll use popovers to complete my score setup. Shift M, and let's put this in 4/4. And then Shift K, let's put this in G major. Shift B, let's add 11 more bars. It's 12 bars total. And Shift T, Allegro, this is the tempo, Allegro moderato. And look at that. Quarter note equals 120. I'm also going to hide the signposts for now. They kind of clutter things up, so hide the signposts and zoom out. Now we're ready to enter some notes. All right, before I start putting in notes, I'm going to do something with the rostral size. Remember that from previous videos, that's the sort of percentage reduction of a score. Let's go Shift Command L into the layout options. The default is usually rostral size 3. I'm going to change it to 6. That should get me more systems per page. And yeah, so we'll basically have 2 systems per page. Let me zoom in. I'm going to start with the piano part. I'm going to put in all the stems up notes, or the layer 1 notes, if you want to call it that. Anything with stems down, I'll have to create a new voice for. I'll do all the first voice parts first in both right and left hand, and then we'll review how to add a voice. Just want to pause to say the reason I didn't put in measures 5, 6, 7, and 8 is because it's the same as measures 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I can do a little copy and paste there, but before I do that, let me put the slurs in so that those also copy. And let me select, shift click all of that. I'm going to just hit R, which is the shortcut for repeat, and I've got them in. I'm also going to put in the dynamic, Shift D, mezzo forte there. And we got some slurs here, and we have some accents from here to the end. So I'm just going to select all of those and do the left bracket, the shortcut for the accent. All right, let's go ahead and zoom in and just review how to put in our stems down. So for instance, in measure 1 on beat 2, we need a D in the lower voice. So Shift V is the shortcut for creating that new voice. Going to go ahead and play that D in. And then remember to hide the rests. I'm going to command click so I can select both those rests and remove rests. Also here near the end, remember to hit V, go into your lower voice there, and let's put in these notes. And in the final measure, we also have, hit V, we have some lower notes. Those notes also need accents, so I'm going to command click those two and left bracket add the accents there. I want to hide this rest as well. Remove rest. Hide this rest as well. Remove rest. Okay, we also do have some second voice action here in measure 9. We have to create a voice here. We didn't ever create a second voice for the left-hand piano, so Shift V. We do want to have 2 G's there, and then F sharp. And only on beat 4 do I need to add another G. And again, let's hide that rest. You'll see that once we do that, the formatting will be updated so that the stems are now facing the right direction. Make sure you save your work. There is some dynamics here in measure 9 up till here. Let me go ahead and put this forte in. So that, and then from here to here, I'm going to shift click and put the left angle, put that crescendo in. Let's go ahead and put the fermata over the last note too. That's Shift H for hold, fermata. All right, the piano part is in pretty good shape. Let's go ahead and put the oboe part in. I'm going to actually real-time record this, but before I do that, I always like to go into the preferences and check under play, make sure my quantization is set. Yeah, 8th note is the quickest rhythm. That's good. Also, I deselect this. I don't like Dorico to detect slurs. It just adds slurs whenever I play a little more legato, so I'm turning that off. Otherwise, we're in great shape. I'm going to use the shortcut Command R, or you could just hit the red button and we'll play in real time. We'll play in the oboe part. Here we go. Okay, somehow I missed that last note, so let me go ahead and just go into note entry mode and put that half note in, and otherwise good. So using a combination of either real-time performing or just step entering or both. Next is the clarinet part. The clarinet part is a transposing instrument. Right now we're set to concert pitch, and I'm going to go ahead and play the concert pitch notes of the alto line, which is down here, D, 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 C, D, D, and so forth. Let's go ahead and put this in real time. Command R to start. All right, well, this one should have been a dot. Let me add that dot now, and this should have been a half note. Let me hit the 7, correct that. And again, we're using a combination of real time and step entering to fix. Let's look at that in transpose pitch. So really, the clarinet needs to C and E in order to sound, back to concert pitch, in order to sound a D. So what's nice is Dorico takes care of that transposition for us. Let's go ahead and put in the tenor part, and I will be playing B, C, B, A, B, G, A, G. I'll be playing that tenor line up here in the alto sax part. All right, Command R, and here we go. Hey, looks like I got it. That looks pretty good. All right, and then the cello part. Let's go ahead, put that in real time as well. All right, and I need to fix that, make it a half note at the very end. Otherwise, I think I'm in good shape. Let's zoom in. I'm going to command click all of these and go ahead and put Shift D, mezzo forte, put those mezzo fortes in there. We need some slurs. Remember, the shortcut is S for all these slurs. And here, and there are various shortcuts we could use, but this is pretty straightforward. By the way, look at that first line now the way it is in concert pitch. Let me hit the transpose pitch. right? That's what those instruments will actually see and play in order to sound like the concert pitch that we played in. So this is working great. Some more slurs, enter that there. All of these are accented. Let me shift click all of that and use the left bracket to put those in. Let's go ahead and put our crescendo here. So shift D for dynamics and the left angle or less than sign. Command click all of these and shift D and put in the forte dynamic there. Great. Could have done it individually as well. We already had the fermata at the end, and notice it put the fermata in automatically. That's wonderful. Oh, we need a ritardando here. That's a tempo. Shift T and RIT period. Got the ritardando in there. And let's zoom out and save our work. I just noticed we forgot a playing technique in the cello. Let me zoom in. Right here on the first note, if I want to give the cellist a down bow, I can use a playing technique. And there it is, the down bow. So I've added that. Let me close this panel. And now it's time for formatting. Let's go to engrave mode, Command 3, and zoom out. Every 4 measures, starting right here, I'm going to go ahead and create a system break. 4 more measures, 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting here, I'm going to use Shift S, the shortcut for system breaks. And then our final system is 4 measures. That looks good. Let's zoom out. If I want to, I can turn on the signpost that I'd turned off. So you can see those system breaks are programmed in now. Next, the staff spacing tool. If I want to put a little more space, maybe open up the piano part a little bit. This is all sort of eyeballing it. Mostly what Dorico does, I actually really like. But here I think I would like a little more space because of the crescendo. I'm just opening up these systems a little bit more. And drag this piano part down away from that a little bit more. Remember, you can use a tilde key. See how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. Let's zoom in and do a little fine tuning. Okay, system 1. That looks good. If anything, maybe use the graphic tool to pull up this mezzo forte a hair, but honestly, or maybe this a little bit higher. But I think it looks good. System 2 looks great. And then the final system looks great. Maybe I'll pull this one crescendo down a little bit, the forte up a little bit. And let me go back to the staff spacing tool and open this up a little bit more, just a hair, only because the slur was uncomfortably close to the hairpin there. Then let's go back to the graphic editing tool and pull that up a hair. And that looks really good. Let's zoom out and look at it. Back to write mode, Command 2. Let's go ahead and proof it sonically. I'm going to select the first note, type P, and let's listen. All right, I think it's time to print, Command 5, and we can send this to a PDF, or we could send it to our printer. You've got yourself a nice little chamber piece for quartet and piano accompaniment, including transposing instruments. One final little Dorico tip. Since this video is about transposing instruments, I wanted to show you that you could actually play the notes in at their transposition. So for instance, we're in transposed pitch here, and the alto sax has in these 2 measures E, F sharp, E, 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 D sharp, E. So if I wanted to actually play it at that level, let me go ahead and delete these 2 measures and go into note input mode. I could either real-time record it, playing it on my MIDI keyboard, or I could do the pitch before duration step entry. And I'm playing an E here, and I'll put that E, F sharp, E, 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 D sharp, and E in. Scroll back. And notice that it went in at the transposed pitch, but I could go back to concert pitch, and it is the actual true pitches G, A, G, 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 F sharp, G, right, that are there. Back to transposed pitch. So you have the choice of playing things in either at concert pitch, or if you want to, you could play them in at their transposed pitch. I hope this video has been helpful. Good luck learning Dorico.